Hello everyone, it is me, Rory Paddock, for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk, coming to you live on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, joined not just myself this evening, but also by Matt Polly and by Luke Tucker, here to preview what is day 4 of 5 days of action at Ascot. How are you doing, gents?
Yeah,
Not
good
too
stuff,
bad.
Rory. Yeah.
Now, first things first, we have to give props to Matt, who managed to his bet of the day. Absolutely went a bit one better than he did yesterday, Matt. Pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it looked surefire, obviously, the best bet of the day. I mean, it looked unlikely at various points during the race, but you know, when he had to knuckle down, he really did, didn't he? And I thought, despite a few things going against him, I thought he could probably be upgraded on the relatively short distance that he won. I think he's probably a listed Group 3 horse in the making. So yeah, pleased with that.
Yeah. And Luke, for those that obviously he wasn't on the show last night, but he did do our preview of the Gold Cup on our website today. For those that don't know, www.picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. You ended up going against the favourite, and you ended up with a winner.
Yeah, subjectivist. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice lovely run in the end. Obviously, you've always got to be careful with the Dubai form sometimes in Maidan. As Matt will tell you, it can be a bit scratchy, it can be a bit fluky sometimes, and can never be quite sure. But it seems with this horse, seems to be the step up in distance seems to get better and better, and you know, it basically ran them into submission in the end, really. And you know, Stradivarius, you could say, wasn't probably the best ride by Frankie. I mean, enough's been said on the internet about that, but I mean, yeah, I don't think even a better start he would have won necessarily. I mean, Princess, it was a strange one because I mean, Princess Zoe, you know, she predominantly prefers soft, heavy ground and ran an absolute stormer as well at a big price. So yeah, it was a strange day, wasn't it? Really, because I think more people anticipated it to be a bit more rain, and that maybe threw a few horses. You had a few non-runners, and some horses ran that probably, in all races in general, probably wouldn't have, had it not been Royal Ascot. Do you know what I mean? So it's a strange day, really, isn't it? Really, I think it sort of this evening threw people by a bit by surprise. But yeah, it was a great win by that, and yeah, it just seems to be a distance seems to get better, and yeah, well, I'm interested to see where Subjectivist goes next. But yeah.
Matt, do you think that's the last time we'll see Stradivarius line up in an Ascot Gold Cup?
Yeah, probably. I should think they experimented with him a bit towards the end of last season, didn't they? With the Arc trial and then the Arc, and I think maybe that was his last hurrah. I think arguably, if things had gone his way, he probably wouldn't have finished second. But the winner got a good ride. He was always in the right place, wasn't he? And when he kicked off the bend, anything that was stuck in behind those horses had a lot of ground to make up, and the bird had flown, as they say. But a bit like Luke said, it'd be interesting to see where he goes next, because I can't imagine he's going to be campaigned the same way that Stradivarius was, because we all know that Mark Johnston likes to run his horses. So there's every chance he could run in every staying race between now and November. And yeah, I can't imagine he's going to be put away and kept for another 2 or 3 Gold Cups. He'll definitely be busy, that horse. I mean, he's a nice horse, isn't he? That he won that really impressively today. And he obviously acts on any ground, because he's won in France on heavy ground. He's won at Maidan on fast ground. He's won again today on fast ground. But there's no way this horse will be wrapped up in cotton wool and saved for an annual attempt at the Gold Cup. He'll
no, it's just not Johnston's style, is it? It's just not the way he trains. I mean, I'm clutching at straws with my Raising Sand grabbing 6 at a big price. Some bookies did pay 6, but anyway, hats off to the pair of you chaps. Moving on, and hopefully we can do the same again tomorrow. First race we'll have a look at 340 as always. It is the Commonwealth Cup 6 furlong race for 3-year-olds. Was a decent enough race, and once again, Luke, we've got another Wesley Ward favourite in a sprint race. I mean, I know I've said this a lot, but is today the day that we see Wesley Ward end up a winning favourite at Ascot?
Do you know what? I mean, when it ran at Ascot, it won the race last year. It won at Ascot last year, didn't it? In the Queen Mary Stakes, wasn't it? And again, that's 5 furlong. I mean, just Wesley Ward. They've all been a bit disappointing, haven't they? Really, I can't think of what part of the what was he on the other week? Twilight Gleaming came close second. They've all been a bit. It's all a bit hit or bust, isn't it? Really, and I'm just not sure that rain as well. Will that suit him? I know he's won on soft in France, but I'm just not sure. Just not sure.
I mean, I've looked up seeing what the odds would have been for, and I don't think Aidan O'Brien's had a winner, has it yet?
No.
I mean, the odds on Aidan O'Brien and Wesley Ward neither to start on the winner in the first 3 days.
Well, Aidan O'Brien had Love, didn't he, Aidan O'Brien? So
Love.
Yeah. But again, it's been poor. But 3 days in, he's only had a hand one. It's but.
So are you going with the Wesley Ward horse or not?
No, I'm not. Actually, no. I tell you what, the one I do like, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it rains tonight, and I'm doing the rain dance tonight as I speak. Sueza, the French horse, William Buick on board, unbeaten in France. I just think if you watch some of the videos back, and it's impressive, and I just think there's a few in here which they've got to step up and find a bit more. That'd be the one for me. I just think that if that ground keeps if it gets softer and softer, I think it's got a really good chance. I'd be amazed if it's outside the top 3. The only thing is maybe it doesn't travel too well and stuff like that. Jumpy, wasn't it? The one Jumpy? Is it one? Jumpy, yeah. Obviously, has won, of course, on his first time out at Ascot. So I mean, for these are all relatively fairly inexperienced horses, aren't they? Really not. So that might help, but yeah, it's just sways with me, just sticks out. What I've seen and just having a look back at the videos of it, at 9-2, I don't think it's too bad. Rain comes down, it'll get shorter, I'm sure Campanelli will drift because I mean, some of his horses, Wesley Ward's horses, have drifted in price ridiculously. They were short price favourites, some of them, and they went out very, very oddly. But yeah, I just think they'll probably win that Campanelli because I said that. But yeah, it's Laser for me. Yeah, so.
I mean, to be honest with you, I'd probably say Campanelli is, of all the Wesley Ward horses that he's
decent horse. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd probably say he's one of our more likely, but that's only based on the fact that he's won here before. But I'm still not going with it. I still think at 9-2, I think if you could get an each way price, if it ended up being something like 6s and you get a bit of profit, yeah, fine, it becomes an each way bet. But at those odds, the favourite, considering the form these horses have been in, somewhat muddling, I'm more than happy to sort of skip over it. I like your horse, but again, I think it wants very soft ground. I don't think it just wants a bit of colour. I think it wants typical French type horse. They're good to soft is our bottomless sort of thing. Dragon Symbol hasn't really put much of a foot wrong, but did finish second last time out. Has had a bit of a long campaign. I actually think 2 Irish horses have a decent chance in this. Measure of Magic and A Case of You. And also at really big prices, I think if the likes of Dan Dalla and the Learjet produce anything like the form they showed as 2-year-olds, I think they'd have very strong chances at big prices, 25s and 50s. But I am going to side with one of the Irish horses. It is A Case of You. Those looks to be a bit of on a bit of an upward curve, and actually won a Group 3 over in Ireland last time out. Perhaps compared to some of these, isn't the classiest type, but a sizable double figure price. I think it's now 16-1. I'm hoping he can grab a place, for a smaller yard in Adrian McGuinness. I think he might have flown under the radar. It has got a group win to its name, whereas some of the more fancied runners don't, I think. Certainly not as a 3-year-old anyway. Well, not as 3-year-olds. Again, it seems to be progressing run by run. You'll be forgiven that run 2 starts back, return to winning ways. Yeah, I'll take that. A Case of You, 16-1. Each way, if there's any bookies paying the first 4 or 5, that'll be mine. Matt?
Yeah, I can see why those 2 horses head the market, Sueza and Campanelle. It's easy to see why they're popular in the market. I mean, Sueza, you can't knock a horse that's won 4 out of 4. There's no way. And without being a going bore again, I'm gonna talk about how much rain we might get, and you know,
Yeah.
we
Seems
talked,
to be a bit of a theme, hasn't it, from last
well,
night as well, man?
we talked last night about it, and it didn't really materialise. Thankfully for me, because you know, most of my selections were based on faster ground horses, but it was raining by the end of today for the 6:10 race, and who knows how much we're going. I mean, there is some forecast again, so that's obviously going to be in Suez's favour, but it's really hard to evaluate the form on, you know, on what it's done in France compared to. I mean, this is a Group 1 race. There's quite a few horses in here that I mean, Campanelle has won a Group 1, you know, but they've all got the majority of these have got to step up if they're going to match that sort of form. But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be too worried if it rained for Campanelle. She won on soft ground in France, and I thought it was really odd that she ran in the mile race in the Breeders' Cup, because she looked all speed, didn't she? And she didn't stay that day. I just thought it was a bizarre decision to run her in there. But I think a stiff 6, even if it rains, I could see Campanelle going well. But you know, are those two value? I think there's 2 horses in here at bigger prices that could outrun their odds. I really like Diligent Harry as a horse. He's only run on the all-weather. That's the snag here. He's never set foot on turf on a race course. He probably has at home, but if you look at his form figures, he should really be 4 from 4. He got held up the day, finished second, and the horse that beat him that day was Rohan, the David Evans horse, which has improved out of all recognition since. You know, I think he won did he win a Group 3 at Ascot as well, Rohan, and then he followed up again at a massive price, didn't he? And if you take that form literally, I don't think Diligent Harry would have much to find. Like I said, the only thing that puts me off him a little is will he be able to transfer that all-weather form onto the turf? But I think if he does, he's definitely overpriced at. Well, I've got 18 to 1 here, but
yeah, no, it is 18. It's drifting like a barge, though. 12s out to 18s, but
yeah. But my main selection is a slightly left field selection again. Is 5,000 to 1. Andrew Baldwin's horse hasn't run so far this season, but I think they thought an awful lot of this horse last year as a 2-year-old. He was quite big, inexperienced looking horse. Even on his 4th run in the Dewhurst, he still looked like he needed to be educated somewhat. And you know, his form's got a bit of a patchy look about it. He absolutely bolted up in a race at Newcastle where he beat a horse called Black Rod, who ran really well in that competitive sprint handicap at York behind First Folio at the weekend. So that franked that form. And you know, he's only beaten 4 lengths in a Dewhurst, and he almost looked the winner at a furlong out at the 6 marker, which is what he's running over today. You know, he's drawn up against that far side rail, and I think he's massively overpriced at 18 to 1. Big question mark, obviously, about his first run in a race of this nature, but I think this horse could improve markedly from 2 to 3, and I'm more than happy to have a stab at him each way at those prices.
Yeah, I remember seeing that horse on debut, and it was really impressive. It was all the talk for a couple of weeks, that horse, after it had won its debut. Sort of somewhat gone off the boil in terms of its form figures, hasn't it? Well, 7th last time, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Matt. I think 18 to 1 about a horse like that is way too big. If it comes back raring to go after, I think, 250 odd days off, I think it could potentially make 18 to 1 look a bit silly. Moving on, chaps. Obviously, the next race, the big showpiece race of the day, the 420. Another Group 1 to contend with, the Coronation Stakes, a mile. Again, 3-year-olds take centre stage. Ballydoyle's Mother Earth is the favourite. We then got Pretty Gorgeous for Joseph O'Brien at 5 to 1, the 4 to 1 for Mother Earth. Primo Baccio, 6s. Empress Josephine, the Irish 1,000 Guineas winner, at 7s. November at 10s. Alcohol Free 11s. Snow Lantern at 12s, and it's 14 to 1 bar. I'll come to you first, Matt. Obviously, a lot of question marks over Ballydoyle's runners. They send two here, Mother Earth and Empress Josephine. All right, they've had a winner in Love, but they have been woefully disappointing. Do you think they could add to that tally here?
If I'm honest, I'm happy to take on Mother Earth. I mean, I don't like knocking classic winners, but she's reasonably solid, isn't she? She's won a Guineas and then finished second in the French Guineas, but I don't know. I just think there's potentially some other horses in here that could step up and potentially match her. I think if an Aidan O'Brien runner is going to win it, I'd side with Empress Josephine, the Irish Guineas winner. I was really impressed with her that day. The race before, where she finished second, they made way too much use of her, and she didn't quite see it out. And I think they rode her slightly different. I think this filly will get a lot further, and I think if they go quick here, she'll be starting on, but she could sneak a place. But the horse I'm going for here is Donegal O'Brien's horse Shale Each Way. I think she's another horse with a massive price, with an each way chance. If you consider that Pretty Gorgeous is second favourite, currently at about 9-2, there is absolutely nothing between these horses on their runs as a 2-year-old. And personally, I think Shale, the bigger filly, arguably has got a little bit more improvement in her to come. I think she'll stay further than a mile. She's by Galileo, and this stiff mile will be right up her street. She had a prep run over 7 on her debut, and that was an inadequate test for her. I think they're going to go a good gallop here, and I think ultimately she'd probably be best over a mile and a quarter, but I think she'll be finishing, and I think at 16-1 she's massively overpriced, Shale. So I'd
best price 25-1 now, Matt, with some bookies.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going the each way theme today. Obviously, I had 5,000-1 in the Commonwealth, and I think Shale, I literally cannot see any reason why she's that price. I think she's drawn wide. That might not be ideal round the bend at Ascot, but I'd still take a chance at those prices. I think she's way too big.
Luke.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think Mother Earth is worth taking on. Like I said, the A.K. O'Brien horse is all over the show. I don't know why. It's not been a great start to the season. The one I do like is Pretty Gorgeous. I don't think ideally that helped at Curragh last time out on its first run on heavy ground. I think that was the weekend that they were potentially going to call it off, weren't they?
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal. So I think his hand was a bit tight. He probably thought one desperately to get a run into it. Pretty Gorgeous. So I think she probably wasn't ideal. Based on her 2-year form, it's very, very strong. Has beaten Mother Earth as well. I just think it's a solid pick. Dettori on board. Joseph O'Brien hasn't been brilliant either, to be honest. But I just think based on that form, again, it won't mind the rain at all. Rock solid, to be honest. Like I said, I can see where Matt's coming from, the Shale angle. I think you get it again if you can get prices placed around. I think 25-1 is a very, very strong price. Empress Josephine, again, Guineas winner has to be respected. A 1,000 Guineas winner has to be respected. Snow Lantern's an interesting one. I think if they could get settle, could possibly be in the mix. Definitely, I wouldn't rule that. I wouldn't rule that one out. But yeah, like I said, it's a strange race. I think you could make a kit out alcohol free. There's another one that's looked good in the past. Could spark it. There's a few in there you could really, get your teeth into it. I mean, you could run that race probably a few times. It might get a different result a lot of time. But yeah, to me, I'll go with. I'd definitely go Pretty Gorgeous to win. And yeah, for an outsider, I would probably go with Snow Lantern just as if they can get that one to sell. I think it's got a good chance as well. But that'd be the two I go for. But Pretty Gorgeous.
Pretty Gorgeous. I think alcohol free did a lot better than I expected at the Guineas. Whether or not it wants this stiffer 1 mile, I'm not too sure. But again, it could be another case like Matt said earlier, where it could be a horse that comes like from off the back. But I mean, even Batapava hasn't, was unbeaten in 2, needs to step up markedly, but could be a horse that that springs a shock place wise. I mean, I know you've gone for a Joseph O'Brien horse, Luke, and I know you've gone for a Donegal O'Brien horse there, Matt, and I'm going to go with their dad.
I thought you were going to.
Just to be awkward. So Team O'Brien, but not with the more well-fancied Mother Earth. You mentioned the horse earlier, Matt, Empress Josephine. You can't really knock the win in the Irish 1000. She looks to be on an upward curve. I'm hoping she can prove it wasn't a fluke that day. I think, based on breeding, I think she will prefer this stiffer mile. Shamie Heffernan's on board. More than adequate second string jockey, as it were. I think 7-1 is too big. And again, I know there's only 13 runners, but many bookies will be giving the first 4, with some sort of like value Ascot selection. And I can't see this horse finishing outside of the first 4. We'll be staying on later on when beating horses are sort of dwindling. Stall form, decent enough stall. I know there's not many runners, so it doesn't take a massive sort of, I know it's on the round course as well, but it doesn't have to come all the way around horses. I just think, Empress Josephine, if it gets a clear passage, 7-1, I'll take that for an each way bet in what looks a ridiculously open race. Those are the 2 sort of main races of the day, chaps. Obviously, as we've been doing in these videos, we have been asking for your bet of the day. I know that you've had a winner today, Luke. I've had a place, but the man of the moment at the moment is Mr. Polly. So, Matt, I might as well let you give the viewers what they want and a winner for tomorrow, whilst we'll just keep quiet and see how it's done. Yeah.
Well, you've just set me up for a massive fall there.
Exactly. I was hoping, yeah.
So, my best bet of the day would be in the 5:35, the Duke of Edinburgh handicap, and that is the current joint favourite on the prices I've got in front of me. It's Our Day, trained by Simon and Ed Crisford. Really good jockey booking in James Doyle. I love that angle. I think he's really good, James Doyle, particularly around Ascot, or in big field races. I mean, there's two. The 2 that head of the market are the standout ones here because they're the potential improvers, aren't they? I think when the conditions, summer conditions, we might get a bit of rain, but these are the types of horses you want to be following. I think maybe in more attritional conditions, it's possibly best to look at the more gnarly, harder campaigned horses because they might deal with it a bit better. But I think in how Ascot has been going this year and potentially the ground's not going to get desperate, I really like the look of Our Day. He's a lightly raced 4-year-old, not many miles on the clock, and he just looks like an ideal type for this. He's by a good stallion in New Approach. He just looks like he's improving all the time. He's I know he's a year older, but he's got a similar profile to that 3-year-old. My best bet yesterday, Surefire. He's just on an upward curve, and he beat a horse called Rodrigo Diaz, who was on a roll last time. Easy as you like, 4.5 lengths at Newmarket on good ground. Stamina's not going to be an issue. If it rains, it's not going to be an issue. Most of his form's been on good or with a little bit of cut, and he's gone up £13 for that last win, but you can't knock the handicapper for that. And I still think 100, running off 100 here is, I think he probably could end up £10 better than that. 100, it could be 112, 114 horse. So I think I'm definitely happy with Our Day.
Our Day. Yeah, I'll save the best till last, so I'll go next. Mine comes in the 305. It is the 1 mile 4 furlong King Edward at the 7th States to Group 2 race for Colson Geldings. And I've gone for Alenquer. We saw William Haggis' yard going well today. Has done very, very little wrong. I think in regards to the form of that horse, it has gone on and won a Group 3 on return. Don't think you can really ask much more than that after a lengthy layoff. For it to go and do what it's done after a break has been handled with care. It's had, I think, just short of 2 months off the track now. I think it'll come on massively for that under Tom Marquand. Step up to 1 mile 4. I think that's definitely in its favour. And I just think in what looks a really, really weak renewal, the Aidan O'Brien horse, Mediterranean, looks the most obvious in terms of a challenge. But aside from that, the form, even the figures, I mean, a couple of horses there with telephone numbers, form figures wise, and there's only the 8 that go to post. I think the current price of what is, I think, if I bring those up now, it is currently 2 to 1. I think the current price of 2 to 1 could potentially end up looking rather generous come the off. And I just think it's a horse on the up from a really big, powerful yard. You've already had an Ascot winner and certainly know how to train horses for races like this. Perhaps a little bit obvious. It's a little bit short. It's 2 to 1, but I'll take it to to hopefully finally get an Ascot winner. Luke?
I'm going to go for the same trainer that Matt did. So if you want to do a double, it'd be 30 to 1 if you fancy mine and Matt's. It's Flotus with Simon Ed Crisford in the first race, the 2:30 Ascot. Saw his race at Goodwood on soft, which hopefully might be that. Fingers crossed tomorrow. Very impressive. Didn't have to ask a lot really. Didn't have to show him the whip or anything like that. Just ridden furlong out, one pulling away. I think Connections were very pleased with that race. Interesting that the Tory's on it, and the Sousa was on it last time, and he's not got a ride in the race. So obviously, it's an interesting one there. My problem in this race, I know there's a few that are all newcomers, all won. A few of them all won last time out. Prettiest looks like quite again it's APO Prime, but Prettiest, if you watched his race last time out, showed a lot of guts, front running, and battled hard on them, which is what you want to see first time out. Very, very good. So I think that one could be a threat. I just think it just looked really impressive. I just think, and I think with the Tory on board, I think he'll be desperate to get off the mark again. And I think it's just a solid bet as first of the day. Hopefully the rain comes, and like I said, I think Connections. I think they think a lot of this horse, so hopefully it delivers the goods. That's my one.
Brilliant, chaps. Obviously, I've been Rory Paddock. We've got Matt Polly and we've got Luke Tucker. Before we go, chaps, I'll just bring up our bets for what will be Friday's action here. I'll do that there. Obviously, our thoughts of the Commonwealth Cup. We've got a case of You Sway setting 5,000 to 1. Empress Josephine, Pretty Gorgeous, and Shale in the Coronation Stakes. And our bets today, Alenkia, Flotus, and Ade, all there across different races, all on Friday. As always, thank you very much for watching. Any comments, likes, and shares are always welcome. From myself and the rest of the boys, fingers crossed, and good luck if you follow.